All new Dr. Phil. Underage marriage disasters.
You've got no business being married at 16.
You have no business being called a mother.
A snubbed mother.
I was not notified of the wedding.
Driven to end her daughter's underage marriage.
You can't do anything whether you want to or not.
But is it mom's fault in the first place? Did you abandon your daughter?
I didn't abandon her. She wanted that.
You don't ask a 16-year-old what they want to do. And the shocking reason this daughter claims she was deserted.
Her husband sexually molested me.
I've never touched Corinna.
Whom do you believe?
The liar.
You lie so much, who knows?
Every word that comes out of your mouth is a lie.
Are you willing to take a polygraph?
I'm not going to take a polygraph test. I don't have to.
Coming up. Let's do it. I want you to get excited about your life.
Here we go, in 10.
Stand by, camera 6.
If it's happening now, we're going to deal with it now.
Stand by, Dr. Phil.
This is going to be a changing day in your life.
Stand by A, and roll A, check in. Go, Dr. Phil.
Today, we are dealing with a family drama with everything you can imagine. A teen marriage, accusations of abuse, maternal abandonment. You name it, this soap opera has it all, and it is very, very tragic because when those things happen, it's the children that pay the price. They pick up the tab. Leslie says she did not give permission for her teenage daughter, Corinna, to get married, and she wants the marriage annulled. Corinna is 16. But she says she wants her mother to back off and stay out of her marriage and her life because she was abandoned and her mother doesn't get a vote. Take a look.
My daughter's too young to be married, and I want the marriage annulled.
When we got married, I was 16 and Ryan was 18. Honey?
Yeah.
It's not taking my password. And there wasn't anybody else in the world out there for me.
I would like to see Corinna and Ryan finish school and be regular teenagers.
I have not finished high school, but I am going to take my GED classes.
I don't like Ryan at all. Ryan has a lot of growing up to do because he's very selfish, very self-centered, controlling.
I'm not her father and I'm not her parent. I'm her husband. I'm her equal.
Corinna is my stepdaughter. Ryan is very immature. He doesn't have a job. He has no motivation to get a job. That's a bum. That's a parasite.
Corinna has said to me several occasions, I'm not ready for this. This is not what I want.
We were separated just for a little while. I kind of just needed to get my thoughts together, and I realized that I missed Ryan a lot. I came back in a hurry.
Corinna has cheated on Ryan. I found out by reading her journal.
Ryan and I have been faithful to each other. When we were dating, I was living with my stepmother and my father. I was having problems with my stepmother.
Corinna's stepmother demanded that Corinna and Ryan got married.
That is not true. I was not forced to get married. My dad asked me if I wanted to marry Ryan because they knew he would take care of me.
There was no proposal to get married. Her parents asked me and they asked her, and that was it.
Ryan and I had a simple wedding. It was the greatest day of my life. Everybody that meant something to me was there.
I was not notified of the wedding until after they were married. I felt very left out. It hurts a lot.
The marriage between Corinna and Ryan should be annulled. It was done under false pretenses.
Corinna's father signed an abandonment paper saying that I had abandoned her and her brother. Signing the abandonment papers allowed Corinna and Ryan to get married with only one parent's signature. If it looked like I was not in Corinna's life, they wouldn't have to ask my permission to get married.
My mother abandoned me. She drove me to South Carolina and dropped me off at my best friend's house and left. I was only 15. It turned my life upside down. I didn't know what to do.
I did not abandon Corinna. I sent Corinna to live with her father. That was the best thing to do.
I grew up with her telling me that a mother was supposed to be there for her children. I'm so sorry.
What do you think about that synopsis of
Well,
when you kind of see in your life on video there, how do you feel when you watch the overview?
I feel kind of like they're not giving Ryan a chance because I do love Ryan. And Ryan is trying to get his GED, going to college. He's tried to get accepted into a couple places and gotten a few letters in the mail. And as it goes forth with the abandonment thing, she did drop me off at my friend's house in South Carolina and left. And that's the last time I saw her for a whole year.
Listen, anytime I have somebody on the show, we do a lot of work before you get here, right? We ask you a million questions, and you were very straightforward with us. Ryan, we asked you a million questions. You were very open, honest. Same thing with you. And so I know from the work we've done with you so far that you are a very intelligent, articulate young woman. You have to get the fact that you're 16. You have to get that because you're 16, your ability to see around corners, your ability to make informed decisions about very life central issues is not as good as it's going to be when you're 26 or 36 or 46. Do you agree with that?
I do believe that to an extent, but I do not believe that I'm still making normal decisions that a teenager would make. You know, a normal teenager wouldn't think, hey, you know, I need to get a job, I need to pay this bill, I need to make sure I get this work done. Mm-hmm. They would just kind of say, well, whatever, somebody else will do it.
Mm-hmm. You want this marriage annulled?
Yes.
Do you have the right to be weighing in with that opinion, or have you, in fact, abandoned your daughter and left her to her own devices?
I didn't abandon her. That story appalls me. I took her to her friend's house to put her in a safe place till I could figure out things from her accusation about her stepfather. And as far as not being around for that year, and they prevented me from it the whole time.
Well, Corinna says that her mother is retaliating against her because she accused her stepfather, Chris, who is with us today, of molesting her 2 years ago. Take a look at this tape.
My mother abandoned me because she thought I was a liar of the accusations I made towards Chris. I told her that her husband had sexually molested me, and she chose his side.
That's a bald-faced lie. I have never been inappropriate with Corinna at any time.
I don't believe Chris would touch her that way. I don't believe Chris would do anything like that to anybody.
She makes up false accusations on me to try to get rid of me out of her mother's life and out of her life, simply because I bring discipline to the family and order to the family. Corinna thrives on chaos.
Corinna told me about the supposed molestation. My very first feelings were, oh my gosh, what have I done? I brought this man into my house. Then, as I began to think about the things that we have gone through with Corinna, she has this history of lying, and I thought it didn't add up.
I was very upset with her and very hurt that she turned on me. Can I go? When she confronted Chris, she started saying that I was a liar and that it wasn't true.
When Corinna accused me of molesting her, I was outraged because I loved this girl. I treated her as my own. I've been accused of one of the worst crimes in the world.
When Corinna talks about what Chris did to her, I don't see how everyone couldn't believe her. She can describe in detail what he did. I believe her 100%. She's my wife, and I have no reason not to.
Corinna did press charges against me. The detective investigated the case thoroughly for over a 3-month period, found that there was no evidence, so the case was closed. I just wish it would go away. I am innocent.
Chris is an ex-convict. He spent many years in jail for different things, stealing and fraud. He told me in person that he would rather go to jail for killing me than for molesting me. Chris has threatened me. Chris has threatened my life and my husband's life if I ever spoke of the molestation.
I've never threatened Corinna and Ryan with physical harm, but I have threatened Ryan saying that if this continued, I would have my wife make a choice between her daughter and me.
I could care less if Chris was dead or alive. I'd be happy if he died, got hit by a truck. Chris deserves to be in prison for what he did. He doesn't deserve to be walking the streets as a free man. He should be getting raped every day in prison.
I'm definitely going to reopen my case against Chris and pursue the charges.
Very serious accusations. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and find out who's telling the truth. And we're going to talk very seriously about what Corinna has done here. Is this an act of an irresponsible 16-year-old that wants what she wants when she wants it? Or is this a survival instinct saying, I've got to be somewhere, I'm starting my life? We'll be right back.
I call Leslie just Leslie. I don't feel she's my mother because I believe a mom should not abandon her kids.
Corinna calls me Mom when she's in a good mood or has news to share. She calls me Leslie when she's angry with me. Corinna has this history of lying. Corinna accused her biological father of abusing her and hitting her. Come to find out, all he had ever done was raise his voice to her, and she didn't like his rules. She admitted to maybe blowing it out of proportion.
Well, that was Leslie, who says her 16-year-old daughter, Corinna, has a history of lying. So she finds it hard to believe that she was really molested by her stepfather, Chris. And, you know, Chris asked to sit in the audience because he is so angry with Corinna, he didn't even want to be up here with her. I want to give you the opportunity to respond to the allegations. You say absolutely, unequivocally untrue, correct?
I've never touched Corinna. Corinna was grounded because that's what she chose. I laid down some very strict rules with her because she'd been in trouble. She was arrested at 14 years old. She'd gotten in trouble with her best friend several times. She lied on her biological father in South Carolina. She came back to stay with us. And when she was back, she asked to go to her best friend's 16th birthday party. Leslie and I discussed that. And I didn't trust her to make proper decisions. So I said, well, these are the rules. I laid down that she called me twice a day, between the hours of 10 and 12 and 6 and 8. I said that she couldn't go anywhere without some kind of adult supervision because she couldn't be trusted at that. She violated every single rule that there was. And the consequences were laid out ahead of that. If you chose to do this, you chose the consequences, and she chose that. The consequence was she was not going to get her driver's license until she was 18 because I can't trust her.
Okay, but I hear all of that, but I don't want to obscure what you said at the very beginning. The very beginning was you're saying you have never touched this child in any way whatsoever.
I've never touched that child inappropriately whatsoever.
That's correct.
Never.
Are you telling the truth?
I am. If she doesn't want to believe me, then there's nothing I can do about it.
So you are telling the truth. What happened? What did he do?
He sexually molested me.
All right, and you didn't tell anyone for a year because you didn't think it would be believed, or you thought it would be believed and would create trouble?
Well, before I left the room after it had happened, he told me nobody would ever believe me. I didn't say anything for a year because, for once, I wanted her to be happy. But that obviously was the wrong thing.
Did you lie about your biological father physically abusing you?
No. I did not say that he had physically abused me. What I had told her was that he got in my face, screamed at me, uplifted the countertop in the kitchen, and threw the couch across the room because he was upset with me. I never said he hit me.
You also told me that he was abusing you and I needed to come save you. So your grandmother and I came to your rescue.
Did you believe the molestation allegation when you heard it?
That the very first instinct was, like I said earlier, what did I do? And then when I started putting all her lies together and the way she had been acting around Chris over that year before she had told me, and the incident that had happened right before she told me with her getting in trouble, then it was like, none of this makes sense, none of it adds up.
So you didn't believe it?
No, I didn't believe it.
Did you ask Chris about it?
I did. I confronted Chris on the phone.
You make this allegation, and it is shortly after that that you say you were essentially dumped at a friend's house.
Yes.
We
Okay.
asked her if she wanted to go there so she could feel safe. She said yes, and her whole attitude changed. She stopped the tears. She stopped everything. She was happy, packing her stuff up, ready to go. So that's not somebody who just, oh, I've gotten dumped. I'm so bad about being put here.
Since the allegations, did you send him a Father's Day card?
I had sent him a Father's Day card because for that year that I did not tell her and she seemed happy, I wanted to keep it that way. And so I hid everything. I made it seem like it didn't happen.
Because you understand these are very serious allegations.
I do, and they're not allegations, it's the truth.
Well, they're allegations till they're proven one way or the other. Are you willing to take a polygraph to this effect?
Yes.
Are you willing to take a polygraph?
I'm not going to rely on a machine for my wife to have to believe me or not.
Excuse me, that was the reason that the police dropped the charges because he was out of state on the truck and they couldn't find him to come take a polygraph
If they couldn't find us,
test.
then why were they calling us all the time? She knew exactly how to get in touch
So
with
you
us.
would decline to take a polygraph?
I'm not going to take a polygraph test. I don't have to prove it.
Why
I
would
know
a
what
liar not,
I do. You lie continuously. Every word that comes out of your mouth is a lie.
Don't be calling a liar when you sit there and I can tell you all the stories you've been lying about.
Okay, but you are willing to take a polygraph?
Yes.
As to the fact that he has molested you?
Yes.
Okay, and if I make that arrangement for you, you will.
Yes, I
you
will.
will do that.
I will.
And I can say to you, I would highly recommend that you do so to create clarity with her and for this situation. So I would really, not for your wife, she doesn't need it. Did you sign adoption papers to surrender her?
Yes, I was sent adoption papers by her and her brother. I called them up, confronted them on it. They said that's what they wanted. They no longer wanted me to be their mother. I told them they were old enough to suffer the consequences of their decisions.
Ryan, how do you two get along?
Corinna and I, we get along, we have our spats, but for the most part, we get along a good portion of the time, and when we don't get along, it's just petty things.
Are you working?
No, sir.
How are you supporting yourself?
I get Social Security income, and I'm currently trying to get my GED.
Did you graduate from high school?
No, not yet. I'm still currently
She hasn't made it
enrolled
through
in
the
high
10th
school.
grade.
So how do you two plan to make it in the world?
I'm still taking high school online classes, and I have a job. So I'm doing both of those, and I plan on going to college.
Okay.
If you're taking the online classes, why is it you call your grandmother at noon one day just getting out of the bed? How are you taking courses if you're
Because
sleeping
you can take them
the day
anytime
away?
during the day.
But if you were really serious about school, you wouldn't be waiting until noon to take your classes. Getting out of the bed going, oh, yeah,
Am I still
I'm going to
doing
go to
them?
school here.
Are they still getting done?
I don't know. You lie so much, who knows?
All right. Can this mother-daughter relationship be repaired? Should it be repaired? Or is it at a point where they need to accept that they are on different paths? We'll talk about that when we come back.
Leslie used to be a very kind and loving person and used to try to help everybody, but she's not that way anymore. I do believe she has been brainwashed by Chris.
Corinna has told me that I'm being brainwashed and controlled by Chris. Chris controls situations that affect the family. So if it's controlling, it's a little bit, but I like that.
Leslie says her 16-year-old daughter, Corinna, is too young to be married, but Corinna says that she is an emancipated minor. She can do whatever she wants to do. What happens if this is annulled? Then what? What happens?
First off, I feel a little justice for being left out. I didn't abandon her. I find a marriage between my daughter and whoever she chooses a very important day. And second of all, if it's annulled, they can get on the right track, go back to school, finish living out their lives as teenagers, and then becoming grown-ups.
Well, is she going to, if this was annulled, and I'm not saying that you're agreeing to that or even think that that's her right to ask for, I understand your position on that, but if this was annulled, what would your vision be? She would come back and live with you and Chris?
No, not after what they put us through the last time they visited.
So what do you think, if you're her mother, and you would have to assert your right as her mother to institute annulment proceedings, then if that happens, then she's your responsibility. How would you plan to meet that?
I know that she would be welcome to live with my mother, and I would do everything I could to support her to finish school and continue maturing. If they wanted to be married after they finished school and got a little maturement behind their belt, fine, I would support that. But since she has been married, she's tried to leave him 4 times. One of the times she came and stayed with me. She was dating people while she was still legally married to him. So the whole I've been faithful is a big fat lie. Ryan has even told my husband that he knew Corinna was cheating on him. I've read her journal where she wrote it down, and then she tore the pages out when she found out I found out. If you're really serious about being married and you really seriously love the person you're with, you don't cheat on them. It doesn't matter how bad it gets.
How many husbands have you cheated on? Come on,
And
name
how
them
many of
out.
them cheated on me? Did that make it right? No.
Did you still do it?
She doesn't cheat on me.
It doesn't make it right, though, does it? I had to grow up myself. So you just want to follow my path because I did it. That's a real good plan,
Believe
Corinna.
me, I don't want to follow your path. Believe me.
And you think you're not going anywhere near it by getting married at 16? And she said she got married because she wanted to do it for her father so he wouldn't get kicked out of the house. That's what she told me.
Do you want to be married?
Yes, I do.
Have you confided in her that you didn't want to be married?
When I was upset, I had told her I had second questions.
Have you been unfaithful to Ryan?
No, I have not.
Are you concerned that she has not been straight with you about that?
I believe her 100%. I know what went on, so you over there being all smart and everything. I know what really happened, so
You don't know nothing.
it's okay.
You weren't there.
If you think you know what happened, then why are you changing your story now that you're in front of Dr. Phil?
My story.
Yeah, you told Chris that you thought she had been cheating on you, and you knew it. And you knew with who. And now it's, oh, I know what's going on. You need to shut your mouth.
Okay. Am I wrong, though, to say that I know what's going on now?
But what do you know, Ryan?
What I know, you don't need to know. What I know is you can't do anything about our marriage, whether you want to or not.
Yes, I
Bet on
can.
that.
I can, because
Go for
what
it.
happened
We will.
was done illegally.
Go for it. We're not in South Carolina. Go for it.
You don't have to be in South Carolina. It's still illegal. He signed an affidavit, and so did she, saying I abandoned her.
I didn't sign it, so
And
that's
I
your
also-
husband
That's what
that
you
know.
told me.
Also,
But
I
I'm a
want
liar,
to address
remember?
the fact
Yeah, I
that
know
he
you
was
are.
sleeping with her at 15 years old. She told that to her medical doctor. He was sleeping with her when she was 15 years old. He's
And he
18
was
years
18.
old.
I was 17 years old.
That's not what you
That's a
told
lie.
I turned 18 a month before she turned 16.
Pull the doctor's report and see.
Yep.
Well, so do you
Because he even
intend,
admitted it to Chris that he was
do,
sleeping
do
with
you
her.
intend to prosecute this?
Yeah.
Okay, so you intend to contact a lawyer, file annulment proceedings, and ask the authority to set aside the
Dr.
marriage?
Phil, Corinne and I both visited a lawyer together to get it annulled. We found out that we had to go through Ohio. So her saying she wanted to be married, you know, that's another one of her, I think it
Was
fits the
there a
situation.
time that you wanted to set this aside?
The 3 weeks that Ryan and I were separated and I went back and stayed with her, yes. But like it says, I wanted to be with Ryan.
Well, I'm going to try to put some order to this multi-layered chaos when we come back. When teenagers make adult decisions and have the adult consequences that go with them, things can really get off track. I'm here today with Corinna and Ryan, both teenagers that are married, and I'm also here with her mother and stepfather who say this should not be, it should be annulled, and I'm going to try and make some sense out of all of this. Now, I want to be sure I understand your position. You want this annulled because you're saying she's a minor and still your responsibility.
Yes.
But once it's annulled, she's not welcome back in your home.
Because of what she's done to Chris. She
So
won't leave him alone.
you want this annulled, but yet you don't want to take the responsibility for raising her. You want to put that on her
Oh,
grandmother.
no, I don't mind taking the responsibility. But I don't want her coming in my home and disrupting things more with her lies.
I offered to move out and still support my wife and my stepdaughter financially or whatever, just so
Yes,
she,
you are.
oh yes you are legally regardless of that, just so that that could be done.
So at this point, you want to annul this, but yet you would plan for her to be with her grandmother.
If her grandmother would take her.
Like I said, retaliation. She just wants it.
It has nothing to do with retaliation. You've got no business being married at 16.
You have
Okay.
no business being called a mother.
At this point, do you agree that this has been a rocky road?
Yes.
That this hasn't been exactly Ozzie and Harriet situation
No.
in terms of marriages and divorces and
Oh, I can admit, as far as her growing up, if that's what you're referring to, oh yeah, I know what they've been through. I know that I screwed up a lot, and there were a lot of things that I could have done different,
To say the least.
but that doesn't give her the right to say, oh, I don't deserve to be her mother.
But is this a survival instinct on her saying, I'd rather be about anywhere than there?
If given the choice of you and your father being kicked out, or your father choosing your stepmother over you, it might have been.
Why does she come back to us then? Why does she move back?
Well, she's 16.
But why am I the one who abandoned her when he chose his wife over her?
Well, you did sign adoption papers.
that's
You
what
did
they
drop
wanted.
her at a friend's house.
That's because she wanted that, and I wanted to put her in
you're
a safe
saying
spot.
wait a minute, you can't have it both ways. You can't say she's too young to make adult decisions and then say, I did that because it's what she wanted.
Because I asked her where she wanted to go.
Well, you don't ask a 16-year-old what they want to do. You don't ask a 15-year-old what they want to do. You make the decision as a parent. You're saying I did it because that's what she wanted to do, and so she gets to make the choice there, but not here.
I made the ultimate decision that she
Of
would
course
be
you
fine
did. So
with
you
her
have to,
friend.
you can't have it both ways. You either are a parent and you make the decisions for them, or you don't. The thing that I have to say to you two, if this isn't right, if this is an act of defiance on both of your parts or either of your parts, if this isn't the right thing long term, then the two of you need to sit down and talk that through calmly and real openly. You know, this doesn't have to be a fight or discourse between the two of you. Look, life is a marathon, it's not a sprint. And you guys are very young. And take it from somebody that's getting a little long in the tooth. You know, there's a lot of this life ahead of you. And the only thing worse than being in a bad relationship for a year is being in a bad relationship for a year and 1 day. And the only thing worse than that is a year and 2 days, and a year and 3 days. If it's not right to be married at this point, if it's obstructing your preparation for life, then you shouldn't do that. If you can't get along, which I mean, living together at such a young age is very difficult to get along. If that's not right, then be mature enough at your young age to say, let's not do this. Forget about mom and dad, forget about parents, step-parents, everybody judging us. Let's make the decision of what's right for us. And I really want you guys to think that through. And if you plan to try and stay married, then I would ask that you let me help you by providing you with some support and counsel that can kind of talk to you about how to make a plan to have the best chance of success, the best chance of survival. Somebody will sit down and say, you know, here's how this all works, you know, kind of some premarital counseling after the fact, you know, about how to work out things like budget and goals and plans and
Not laying on your wife for 2 hours to prevent her from leaving
all
the
of
house.
those. I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. So, I mean, would you consider that?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you do that, what would your goals be and what would you want to do? That's the question for you. Now, the question I've got when we come back is what's going to happen between you two? What's going to happen with regard to this relationship and who has the responsibility to do what to heal these wounds? We'll be right back. I'm here with Ryan and Corinna, who are married, in my view, way too soon, way too young. Leslie, Corinna's mother, and Chris, Leslie's husband, and Corinna's stepfather, who she chooses not to call stepfather, is also here. I've been talking to you guys about if you're going to do this, you know, first off, are you willing to sit down and, you know, not here, not now, but just the two of you to sit down and say, Is being married the wrong thing for us right now? And should we just be friends and allies and supporters and pursue our goals, but on different paths? Are y'all willing to sit down and have that conversation between you, just alone, when you get back home?
We've already had that conversation.
Well, would you be willing to have it again?
No.
So you're not willing to even consider that this may not be the best option for you right now?
We've already decided that this is the best option for us and this is what we want.
What do you say about that?
This is what we want. This is what I want, and I hope this is what she wants. I want to be married to Corinna, and I want to have her as my life partner.
Well, that's why I'm saying you should sit down and see. Here's my point. I think you should always be willing to challenge anything, because if it won't withstand challenge, then you shouldn't do it. And if it will, if you have the conversation that I'm talking about, you might come away with some clarity on your goals, even more committed about what it means to be married instead of just being married, but what it means to be married, but to actually challenge that. And if what you're saying is true, then you'll come away and say, this is right for us. It's probably not right for most 16-year-olds, probably not right for most 18-year-olds, but for us in our life situation and given our options, this ain't a bad choice. I mean, that may be how you come away with it, but you've got to be willing to keep an open mind every step of the way. And I'm saying, I'm not asking you to do it with me or with your parents, just with each other, that you always keep an open mind to that. And so you don't have a sense of saying, I've made a decision, so I'm stuck. I don't want you to feel stuck. Do you hear what I'm saying? And you've agreed that you will take some counsel, that I'll provide some resources to you that can help make this work if that's the direction that you intend to go. Because there are ways to make it easier and ways to make it harder. And so
we've been faced with quite a few challenges we've gotten through.
You've been offered some opportunities too, Dr. Phil, and I was going to throw this out there for you. When they came down to visit in, they were struggling. They had just moved into their home. Corinna found out that she hadn't passed the 10th grade again. Chris and I offered for them to stay. We have three-bedroom duplex. We have a very nice place. We offered for them to come stay with us, go back to school, don't worry about a job until they got back on their feet. Then they could slowly move themselves into the more adult decisions of getting a job. They could worry about paying rent, as they got along. And when she decided to leave and go back to Ryan, she was one week away from starting high school again.
Okay, I understand, but
So we've tried to help them out, and they have said, no, we don't want your
Why would
help.
I be with a man that sexually molested me? That's
Then why
stupid.
did you come back and said you wanted to live with us?
He
if
was
did?
gone.
And after the year, he wasn't gone all the time. He was gone some of the time. When I asked her why did she wait a year to tell me, she goes, oh, I just thought you needed to know. But I didn't want yours and Chris's marriage to be ruined or fall apart.
okay.
So what
ownership do you have in this situation, the fact that she is married at 16?
The ownership maybe that I have is not giving her a better childhood. I wasn't there to say, no, don't get married. I asked her why didn't she call. Why I could have come and got her. Her grandmother could have gotten her. She had options, but she told me she felt like she didn't.
Because I just have to tell you, as a parent, to drop my kid off somewhere to live with somebody else just isn't even on the radar.
I didn't leave her there to live. She was not dropped off to go live there.
And you have a son, correct?
Yes.
That-
She was not dropped off at her friends to live there. I said, I need to put you somewhere safe while I sort this situation out. It was, you're not going there permanently. I'll never see you again. None of that. It was because I needed to sort what she had told me, how to deal with it, how to approach Chris about it.
Your son, you just got adoption papers from your son.
Yes.
That he's been adopted out.
Yes.
She doesn't take care of any of her kids.
What's the, that just seems
They didn't
way
file
bizarre
them.
to me. But you have two children. One is
Yes.
married at 16 and the other one's just filed adoption papers to be away from you
Yes.
and with someone else. Why is that?
I don't know, because I haven't been able to speak with him for over a year. I don't know what his
But I'm
reasoning
asking, when I
is.
say, what is your contribution to this situation? That's what I'm asking. You have two children, both of them are estranged. I'm wondering if you're asking yourself, that ain't much of a resume as a mom.
Yeah, I ask
what
myself that all the
what am I
time.
doing?
And I don't need her putting me down to ask that. Of course I look at that situation. Because all I ever wanted was children and to be married, and for my children not to
Why
want
do
to
you
be
believe
with
your
me.
son has pulled himself away and been adopted by someone else?
Part of it is because I know how they speak to him, and they wanted him to believe that I abandoned him and didn't want him.
He
At
got
the
on
time,
the truck and left.
I feel like I need a dance card. I feel like you'd have to feel like you need a dance card. My bottom line for this family when we come back. Well, I'm here with Ryan and Corinna, a teen married couple, Leslie and Chris. We're talking about what happens at this point. You are going to proceed with annulment, right?
Yes.
You're going to try to get that done. You guys are going to resist that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, I think I just want to talk just to you for a minute, and everybody else can listen, but I want to just give you some food for thought, okay? Growing up is tough, no question about it. Growing up in a blended family is really tough. I mean, the challenges, and here, you know, you've had a biological father, an adoptive father in the mix, the stepfather in the mix, a mother that you have not gotten along with. I'm not saying that you've been an angel through all of this at all. You've been placed somewhere because that was the most stable position at the time. You call it abandoned, she calls it placed. I frankly am surprised that you've made it as far as you have, as well as you have. Every rule I can think of in a blended family has been violated. I mean, just every rule I can think of has been violated. I mean, you talk about the discipline that you've set down for her, probably well-intended, doesn't work. Step parents can't come in after 4 or 5 years of age and start rendering discipline because he's not your father. It's somebody your mother has married. That puts you in a difficult position. The only thing that I ask is that in your quiet moments alone, you try to keep a compass of what is going to be best for you long term. Ryan, you are currently in her life. She hasn't had an easy road.
Right.
And you know that.
Yes, sir.
So you have a big responsibility here. She doesn't need somebody that is unkind or abusive in any way. I'm not saying that you are. I'm saying you have to be very careful about that. I'm going to offer counsel to y'all, and I want you to take it. I want you to take it. I want you to take it some by yourself, where you can go sit down and talk to somebody without anybody looking, anybody listening. He doesn't know what's going on. Mom doesn't know what's going on. Nobody knows what's going on. You can just have candid conversations in the strictest of confidentiality. So you have a place to kind of feel your way along. But it's important that you take care of yourself. And if you reach a point where you feel like you can begin some healing in this relationship, then I would want you to do that. Until you're not there now. You're certainly not there now, and you probably won't be in the near term. But that may come, and I hope that it does. I hope that it does. I think you acknowledge that you made a lot of bad decisions along the way during her childhood and all.
I was a young mother, and I can look back now as I've matured and go, wow, that should have been totally different.
Yeah, but you're not going to heal that with criticism. You're going to heal that with cooperation and creating a dialogue, and I'm going to try to help make that happen. And I do want you to take the polygraph so you can have clarity
All right.
in everybody's mind about what happened. I encourage you to do so. If you decide to, then I'll make that available. If you decide not to, certainly nobody can force you to do that. We'll watch this and see what happens. We'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, this is obviously a very layered situation. I mean, has there been sexual abuse here or not? We're going to find out because we are going to do the polygraph with Corinna and find out. I hope that Chris makes the decision to do it as well, because there will be clarity at that point from both sides. I'm going to offer every kind of resource I can possibly imagine to these people to give them a running start and a running chance to either go their separate ways or work it out if they're going to stay in this very young teen marriage. Statistics are not good here. If you're concerned that your teenager is getting too involved with somebody, go to drphil.com. I'm going to have some suggestions there on what you can do. And number one on the list is going to be to get a copy of this show and have them look at it so they can see everything that goes on in these situations. It's not the answer. Thanks for being here today. We'll see you next time. All right, thank you.